Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Reports on Channels Television. On this edition of the program, controversies trail the proposed building of the burnt popular Jos main market following the state government's choice of a partnership with a bank. And the Adamawa Urban Renewal Project takes another dimension as the state government flags off the reconstruction of 8.8-kilometer network of roads in Yola, the state's capital. We have these and more for you shortly. I am Yomi Otaibi. The plan by the Plateau State government to rebuild the Jos main market, destroyed by fire in 2002, is now on hold as groups oppose the involvement of an Islamic bank in the execution of the project. Eyewitness Report recounts the drama that ensued when a coalition of Plateau indigents met with the state government on the matter.
The Jos main market site now has clusters of makeshift shops erected by traders at the foot of the ruined market, while other traders take on the streets to display their wares for sale. The market, also called Jos Terminal Market, was once a tourist attraction and trade center to many. An ultra-modern market known to be the largest indoor market in West Africa, a hub for the sale of all sorts of commodities and a major contributor to the revenue of Plateau State until it was gutted by fire in 2002. A bomb blast which occurred around the market in 2014 further dragged the market to a dilapidated state. Attempts by past administrations to rebuild the market proved futile until 2016, when the present administration demolished what was left of the market in preparation for its reconstruction.
Slow down.
Since then, there have been wide concerns by residents and indigents in diaspora over the move by the state government to rebuild the market. Recently, some aggrieved youths took to the streets to protest the content of an MOU between the state government and Jai's Bank, which was leaked to the public.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for.
A stakeholders meeting is called to enable representatives of interest groups express their reservations and fears over the content of the purported document. Top among other concerns is the 40-year lease and the 60-40 shops ownership and control option in favor of the financier Jai's Bank when the market is rebuilt. Stakeholders also feel that the state government's plan is without their knowledge and consent.
There is an agreement in the clause that stated that the 60% was to be ceded to Jai's Bank so that they can recoup their investment and interest. And we are all aware that Jai's Bank is a non-interest profit-making organization. What are we working with? Is somebody hiding something from us? How much are the shops going to cost when they are finally constructed? And how much would you, in the multiplier effect, have gotten out in 40 years? Please, sir, add 40 years to your years. I have done to mine. I know how old I will be by that time. In the drafted JVA, joint venture agreement, sir, there are a lot of loopholes that even me, if I am the financier, I will deal with the government and you can do nothing about it. And if this is a proposal we as a government have given to these financiers, who are for all intents and purposes, permit me to say, highly incompetent in the light of the laws applicable in PPP. They haven't bidded, so why are we dealing with them? Even if they have bidded, it should be a construction company, not a financier. And if they have bidded, then we should be dealing with how much they will recoup only for investment and not including interest. They don't need interest, sir.
Yusuf Gagdi, a member in the Federal House of Representatives and the Secretary to the Plateau State Government, attempts to clarify the concerns.
From the explanation of the governor and the SDS, the shop buyers are Plateau people unless if we want to sell Plateau. If this shop are due Plateau people, including me, sir, I'm a Muslim but from Canaan. I'm a Plateau man. The shop buyer, because I cannot relocate to Canaan, no matter how I'm being pressurized. This shop buyer is a Plateau man that after, from the explanation I got here, that is why in my 3 appearances in TV, I didn't go details. Because I don't understand the concept of optical. Now I understood. It's well understood. Build this 40 years you are going to tie this MOU to. Sir, if we will put a mechanism in place to ensure Plateau people take over that market after building it, I will be one of the people that will advocate that the 40 years should be 60 years because it's the Plateau man that will take it. Unless it is a Jais bank or the so-called Jais bank that is the shop owner or off-taker, I will be the first person to fight you, sir. I will be the first to tell you no. You are taking my big future. You are 50-something and 42 or 41. And the future of my son and your son to mortgage to Jais Bank. But Jais Bank is building. I don't mind the name and the religion, whatever it is. Build or a developer is developing from this explanation and transfer to Plateau State government who is responsible for allocation of those shops. And those shops allocated to Plateau people. In my own little understanding, you are empowering Plateau men and women by donating those for 40 years. They own the shop for 40 years. After Plateau people will own the shop for 40 years. After 40 years, government take over.
Governor Simon Lalong takes his audience back as he recalls how previous administrations failed to rebuild the market. He assures that the people's interest will be protected in the MOU with Jais Bank.
So in December 2021, Jais Bank offered to build a market. That is on another term, PPP arrangement. So in that case, there will be no bank guarantee. So a total of 4,321 shops were to be built at the cost of 9 billion. Don't forget, at the time that we were entering this contract, the assessment to rebuild that market was over 20 billion. From 4 billion. Those who serve with Dare will know. It was 3-point-something billion. From 3-point-something billion, Board Bank came in, and it was 4-point-something billion. Boardman gave the contract. I didn't serve with Boardman, but some of you served with Boardman. Boardman had awarded the contract, 4-point-something billion. Jonathan came in, and Jonathan revoked the contract. He revoked that contract. I think Boardman awarded it to Eagles Construction. Jonathan revoked the contract. And Chief Jonathan said, I will not rebuild that market. For obvious reasons, he said, I will not, that was the word, I will not rebuild that market. That way, in that place. So when I came, the previous government had said, we will not rebuild that market. In fact, my last encounter at the TV was our radio encounter a week to the election. My colleague, opponent on the other side was asked, our problem is main market. Can you rebuild this market if you are elected? He said, no, I'm not going to rebuild that market. Then I was asked, are you going to rebuild just main market? I said, by the grace of God, I used that word. I said, this market was burned down when I was speaker. After this market was burned down, it was difficult for Plateau to pay salaries. We started incurring salaries here and there. So my first priority was that by the grace of God, if I have resources, I will rebuild that market.
An elder statesman and former military administrator who completed the Jos market while in office advises that the plan to rebuild the market should be suspended until proper consultations are done.
From the presentation made earlier, I understand that the MOU has not been signed. Am I right? That is very relieving. Number two, the time left for this administration between August and May 2023 is about 8 months. The questionable issue in the whole project is the 40 years involved in the operation of the bank, the 40 years. And I understand today's meeting to be the first leg for the consultation, which is ongoing. I would want the consultation to continue within the remaining 8 months so that we can get the best out of the project.
In another part of the meeting, the Plateau State Commissioner for Justice provides an update on the partnership between the state government and Jais Bank on the market project, with further assurance that it is for the best interest of the people.
So a lot of misinformation with which this forum had taken place before now, but we were still negotiating and discussing with Jais Bank before this information was leaked, deliberately leaked in the social media. We have not yet concluded, but we have reached some understanding as to how we want the project to be carried out. It's a partnership. We are not ceding anything to Jais Bank. We are not granting a lease of 40 years. It is the buyer that will get 40 years sub-lease. So I'm sure we've been able to clarify that point. So if there are any other issues, we are open for discussions. Most of the concerns were based on misinformation in the social media. There is no truth that the government is ceding anything to Jais Bank. Jais Bank is just a financier. Jais Bank is putting money on the table for the contractor to do the job, at the end of which they would sell 60% and the government would sell 40%.
Several stakeholders meetings have been held by the state government and faith groups to douse the tension and find a common ground to the contending issues.
There's no way the government in its own capacity to mortgage the life and citizens of Plateau State. And there's no way we will sit down too for them and watch at our nose that their lives and properties have been mortgaged for over 40 years. And we came here and the youth have spoken their mind. If the conditions or fears have not been attended to, we will definitely react. But we call on the citizens of Plateau State to be kind enough to give us the benefit of doubt that we have their interests at heart. So we will not allow anything to happen to them.
The controversy trailing the planned concession of Jos Main Market takes another dimension as a member representing Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency, Musa Bagas, secured a court injunction at the Plateau State High Court, restraining the state government from signing an MOU with Jais Bank.
Then the Attorney General has filed his response today and served us with it. He was of the view that the court should take his objection today, but we had to tell the court that based on Supreme Court authorities, if it's an origin summons, then the origin summons and the main suit must be taken together. Graciously, he conceded to it. He conceded to that position and said, yes, that's the position of the law. So the court has granted an adjournment so that the main suit and the notice of preliminary objection be taken together. By God's grace, will be in court so that the court will hear the matter and the objection at the same time. Meanwhile, the motion for interlocutory injunction will abide the judgment of the court.
Outside the courtroom, a protest is held by some residents in support for the rebuilding of the market and against Musa Bagas for taking the Plateau State government to court. While it appears that reconstruction of the Jos Main Market is on hold, more consultations between the state government and the people are expected in the coming days.
Welcome back. The next report follows up on several pictures sent by eyewitness reporters on the deplorable state of roads in Jola, the Adamawa state capital, with what appears to be good news for residents as the state government begins the reconstruction of 8.8-kilometer network of roads in the metropolis.
The Bakaji housing estate was a planned suburb of Greater Yola. It has an average of 700 households with an estimated population of over 5,000 people who are either serving or retired civil servants. Sadly, the roads within the estate have remained in bad state for years, and now the state government is taking the step to ensure that it is fixed as Governor Umaru Fintiri, accompanied by some top government officials, arrives to flag off the rehabilitation. Besides the road in the state, other facilities in Mahmoud Ribadu Square, an event center in neighboring town Jimeta, will also be rehabilitated.
The 2.64 kilometer road in Ribadu Square and that of 6.2 in Bekaji Estates consist but not limited to the following specifications: the clearing of existing roads to the limit of the construction, demolition of and removal of existing pipe, box, culverts, and concrete drains, provision of reinforced concrete drains to the size of 0.7 by 0.8 meters on both sides of the road, provision and placement of access slabs using grade 20 concrete, which includes shuttering but exclusive of reinforcement.
Governor Umaru Fintiri says the projects are meant to ease the burden of commuting, which over the years has been a problem for residents.
These two roads that are being flagged off today in Jimeta are central to this friendship. They are meant to ease the burden of commuting, which has over the years been herculean to our workers, both retired and serving, most of whom constitute the residents of this community. We cannot aspire to build a greater Adamawa state without building the necessary infrastructure for such growth. Within the confines of the limited resources, we have carefully distributed projects across the state, taking cognizance of the strategic needs and the benefits they can confer on our people.
The governor goes on to explain how urban renewal program is changing the outlook of the state.
Jimeta, Yola, which hosts the administrative headquarters of the state and represent the pride of every student of Adamawa State, has the highest chunk of the project for reasons that are obvious. We have constructed urban roads across many local governments in the state. The campaign is ongoing until every local government gets its fair share. The trend is moving with the required vigor and speed and quality. We have deliberately placed urban renewal and rural infrastructure at the center of the 11-point agenda. Our administration has taken up the task of providing roads with quantifiable vigor and committed huge resources to complete the ones abandoned by our predecessors and open up rural areas through the provision of infrastructure, conscious of the fact that these are foundational prerequisites for the growth and development of our people.
Some residents are grateful for what they see as a necessary intervention.
This estate was built around 81, 82, and then everything was beautiful. We had very beautifully laid out roads. The water channels were functioning very well. In fact, this place was an hallelujah to live in. But with time and the neglect that came with time, neglect of previous governments, the place started deteriorating. I look forward to seeing this place restored to its former glory. And I believe that Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri is the Messiah we've been waiting for.
To me, it's like a dream come true. We have been praying, and to God be the glory that today we are witnessing the flag up of having altar in this estate. This will give us the opportunity of going around without any hitches. So we really thank God that this is happening today in our generation. So we want to thank the governor and all his council for moving up into Bekaji to see that we have good roads.
Despite lean resources, the state government says it is committed to delivering projects that will enhance the comfort and livelihood of the people.
In Borno State, Northeast Nigeria, a program-based organization extends its support towards the fight against terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria by building perimeter fences at a police station and police barracks in Askaroba, a border town in Borno State.
The years of conflict in northeast Nigeria has left negative impact on both human lives and properties. Facilities belonging to security agencies are not spared. Here in Askira local government area of Borno State, the Victims Support Fund, a humanitarian organization, is handing over a newly constructed perimeter fence in fulfillment of the promises it made to help rebuild some facilities destroyed by insurgents.
The mission and responsibility of the Victims Support Fund is to really help in early recovery. That means help people after the insurgency to really rebuild their lives. I was delighted coming here, looking at primary schools that we had reconstructed, all now being used. That gives us tremendous delight.
The gesture is well received by some heads of security outfits in the state.
It is on record that the divisional headquarters was affected by the activities of violent criminals across the region. And not only the divisional headquarters was renovated, it was equally fenced. And 4-man rank and file quarters was equally built through the effort of the Victim Support Fund. Without security, there won't be any meaningful development. And to this end, we wish to call upon all financially empowered individuals to come to the help of the police. And on our part, we are not unmindful of the task given to us, because to whom much is given, much is expected.
It is only at this point that we expect the police to be able to function properly. If this is not done, we will not be able to get the results we require. So today we are witnessing something that is most required in a large part of this environment that has been devastated by insurgency. We hope that the Victim Support Fund will have the capacity to extend this beyond Askira Uba within the areas so that peace can return fully to this environment.
Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State, represented by the Commissioner for Reconstruction and Rehabilitation, is pleased to be getting support in his efforts to giving a new lease of life to communities and individuals affected by insurgency in the state.
You will recall that only last week, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, flagged off yet another landmark event, which is the closing of Dalori 1 IDP camp, Dalori 2, and Gubio IDP camp in Maiduguri, also supported by BSF. In that project, BSF spent nothing less than 1.6 billion naira for the closure of these 3 camps alone. It is therefore safe to say that BSF remains one of our earliest collaborators and strongest allies, supporting our post-recovery drive, and we remain very appreciative of the collaboration effort.
VSF and other non-governmental organizations have been involved in rebuilding public infrastructure destroyed during the onslaught of the insurgents in Borno State. Such support will help strengthen the capacity of security agencies in responding to the conflict in the Northeast.
Thanks for your contributions as we look forward to more. That's where we draw the curtains on this edition of the program. See you again, same time next week. I'm Yomi Otaibi.